Hello, everybody, and welcome to a pre-recorded session of Conversations with Jeff. And man, I got to tell you something later, right? But not right now. So welcome everybody that's new to our show, right? Where our mission is to bring empowering guests like we have in store for you to share their experiences, their strength gained from going through the comebacks of life, right? We all go through comebacks. Every one of us can think of a time in our lives when we think, man, I don't know if I can climb up this hill, but we get there, right? And so this guest we have is just a dynamite young lady and going to really deliver in a way that is just unique to her, right? And for those of you that are wondering, my name is Jeff Tyson. I'm known as the Comeback King and host of Conversations with Jeff. And our whole mission, again, is to bring guests in and share their story, but give you, the audience, an opportunity to pay attention to your stinking thinking. Right? You know, that conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. You know, that chatter that's always running, right? I always like to ask folks in the morning, when you look in the mirror in the morning, who do you see looking back at you? And do you really like what you see? Do you really like the quiet message that's going on? And sometimes it's screaming at you. Woo! I mean, it's shaking you up. That negative stinking thinking that runs, unfortunately, that runs a lot of our lives each and every day. So today, if this is you, or even if it isn't, we've been there. I want you to make sure that you sit down, pay attention. And our guest, by the way, is an author, speaker, known as the host with the most from her mother country of Trinidad, and just a lady who has fought through migration, marriage, and ministry to bring her message to you today. So without any further chatter from me, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage, and this is pre-recorded, my friend Candice Bailey. All right.
Whoa, I need to carry you everywhere I go, because that introduction just lights me up every single time. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the invite, and it's always good to have conversation with you, my friend.
Amen, Candice. Thank you for being here and being patient. I mean, 30 minutes waiting for me to get this thing figured out is just amazing.
Hey, no need to apologize. When it's going to be powerful, it's always under pressure. So it's fine. It's fine. I've been here before. I know what it looks like and feels like. So we good.
Yeah, that's great, Candice. So you were telling me earlier, and we'll get to it, but I always learn something new about you all the time. It's just amazing. So you were telling me that, one of your many things in Trinidad was known as kind of the host with the most. Right, and so you have that kind of energy, you have those kinds of things. So then when you migrate, right, you have that and some other things we'll talk about. But when you migrate into a different land and a different place, and you're already pushing at 100 miles an hour, can you kind of just share a little bit about the dizziness in that? And
wow, yeah, it feels like going to the amusement park or the theme park, and as you're about to get on your favorite ride, all the lights go out. Ooh. That's what it feels like. So a little bit about me. I've been in the performing arts for over 15 years. The first time I started acting or performing on a stage, I was about 10 going on 11, and like up to this morning, I was telling my husband, I was like, yo, all of my life I've been on a stage, and the most alive I've ever felt was on a stage. And when I came off of those stages, I would just ride the wave of whatever I shared, whatever I received. And then, when the pandemic came, and I wasn't being booked to host weddings and events or speak at events, I was like, you need to do something, and you need to do something really quick. So that's when Zoom became my best friend. I was everywhere and anywhere in the globe via the virtual platforms. And one day my friend was like, Candice, do you even rest? Like, you are doing the most right now. Like, that was a saying. So anytime somebody says, you're doing the most. It seems it comes across like you are doing more than you should be doing right now.
Mm,
And
yeah.
she's and this, you're really good at this hosting thing. And then all of a sudden, she just said, Candice, you know what? You are the host with the most. And I was like, ooh, I love that. Like, you know what? Everything I do, I always want to give God glory for it because He is the creator and I'm creative because of Him.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I make this catchy and tagline-ish, you know? So I always introduce myself. Hey, everybody. At the time, I was Andrews, so I used to do it like this. Hey, everybody. I'm Candice Andrews. I am the host of the most. I serve the most high God and I give the most value, and I'm here to serve you up something spicy.
Yeah.
That was,
Yes.
that was my thing, you know. And then before I knew it, I woke up 2023, didn't know what to do, what was going on in my life, had to, I was going through my grief, and that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But, March came, started um meeting persons, and then I met the person who I'm married to now. We'll get into that later on. But I did not know. If somebody told me, Candice, in 2023, you're going to meet the guy that you absolutely fall in love with, you're going to be healed, you're going to be restored, things are going to get better for you. And guess what? You're going to migrate. I was like, no way. Whoever's going to say that, they
Yeah.
definitely on some sort of drugs. Like, I wouldn't believe them. And to this day, I'm in the US and sometimes I wake up and I'm like, wait, I'm not in Trinidad anymore. Sometimes I walk outside thinking, I'm going to check my cousin who lives right down the street. When I look right down the street, there's a bus that reminds me, oh, you're in the United States. And then when I look across the street, I might see a flag that is not my flag. And I'm like, all right, Candice, it's a lot. You have to take it in. This is your new life. Get used to it.
Mm. So that's easy to say right now, but I mean, if you're that connected still, right? I mean, you're waking up. I can just imagine waking up, going outside. I was kind of shocked. Where am I? Right?
Yep.
How did I
Yep.
get here? Wow. Wow. So you're in this space and you're battling some losses. And Candice, you talk a lot about, burnout. You talk a lot about, just that throwing in the towel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about before the show, and when you get to that point, I mean, there's people out there that are where you were not too
Mm-hmm.
long ago, and you were sharing something with me. If you mind sharing that about in the dorm room, in that
Yeah.
moment when it was like
Mm-hmm.
it's enough is
Yeah.
enough.
We could go there. I remember that for all my life, I've been, by the way, losing my father at 9. I was always screaming to be seen because I felt like my father saw me. Not that my mommy didn't see me, not that my siblings didn't see me, but my father saw me. And it's because he prayed for me to come into existence. Like
Mm,
he was in the shower one day, he was calling out to my mom, Joe, my mother's name is Johanna. Joe, come quick, come quick. So she stops what she's doing. She takes off the stove and she runs into the bathroom. What's happening? Can you pass the shampoo and conditioner for me, please? And she was like, no way. That is what you're calling me for? He's like, don't worry. Just now, I'll have my baby girl. And when I call, she's going to answer and she's going to come running to
mm,
anything I need her to do.
mm.
And a couple of months later, I was born. So, and my father named me Candice. And my aunt told me that he named me after Candice Bergen, the actress. Didn't know I would end up being an actress, but that's another story. By the way, Candice Bergen is born the same day as me, May 9th, but we're not going to go there.
Wow,
So,
wow.
so when you lose somebody who sees you and knew what you were meant to do in this world, because my father had this amazing power about him. He knew people, he knew how to get the best out of them, and when that dies, you want to die.
Mm.
So I was constantly fighting to be seen, fighting to be heard, fighting to be understood. And I did not do well at school. So my secondary school teacher, my high school teacher was like, Candice, do not be under pressure to go through these studies. Go straight to acting school, go
Mhm.
straight to university and do what you do best. So
Yeah.
I took it and I said, hey, I'm going to university. I'm going to study performing arts. Got there and no one told me that the first year of your performing arts degree, you would not be performing.
Yeah.
I went crazy because I had to do
Oh,
all these foundational courses.
yeah.
I had to like write
Uh,
all these papers and thesis and I wasn't prepared for that.
yeah,
And
that's great.
guess what? I was known as the daughter who cleans, not the one that cooks. So guess what? I moved out of home, got to a dorm, and now I had to balance working 3 jobs, going to school because I had
Mm.
to pay for my education at the time,
Yeah,
and I had to like honestly, our education in Trinidad is free,
yeah,
but what people don't tell you is that you still have to buy books, you still have to get things done, like all these different things. And
yeah,
of course,
yeah,
I still had to pay rent.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
thankfully, my mother helped me, but then things started to get out of balance where I was looking to become this big star on a dot called Trinidad and Tobago and still trying to make a name for myself. I was this girl from South, come
Mm.
to town, come to university, this great university in the
Yeah.
Caribbean, everybody wants to come to. And then I lost myself in the source because I
Mm.
didn't even know that this other world existed outside of my world. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Candice is getting to reinvent herself. Why not try everything that is in front of her? So when I got to university, um, this whole thought of, oh my gosh, there are guys from every part of the globe in this place.
Mm.
Okay, all right. Not really thinking, not
Bonus.
really think, yeah, like not really thinking about it much because at the time I was dating somebody, but it
Yeah,
was it was a lot happening.
yeah.
And then I was like, wait, Candice, you are getting to meet people from all different parts of the world, and you are getting this one moment in time. So, in all of that, I was getting my PhD in card playing. I
Mm.
was like getting exposed to alcohol, which I didn't do back home because I grew up
Yeah.
in a very sheltered Christian home,
Mhm.
and I was doing the most. I was trying everything, dabbling in everything, and then what happened is that while I was succeeding in forming this people pleasing identity, I
Mm.
was failing at my educational life.
Mm.
So after a while, I said, here's what, exams are coming around the corner. What you gonna do? Okay, let's do some all-nighters at school.
Mhm.
Okay, let's stop eating because eating is taking up time from you studying. Like that was my mindset. Okay,
Mm.
let's make friends with the librarians so you could like get some papers printed free or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. You need to try something.
Right. Right.
And little did I know I was slowly deteriorating, but
Mm.
I was showing up on stage
Yeah.
like the best thing ever.
Wow.
And that led me to anxiety, that led me to depression, that led me to burnout. And I had gotten so bad, I was just looking for all sorts of way to self-diagnose myself, get
Mm.
all the painkillers because I had some horrendous, like horrible headaches. So it
Mhm.
was just a downward spiral of me trying to please my family, saying, hey, I'm making something of myself. I'm going to university, trying to please my lecturers, trying to please all these people that I'm casting for roles in
Yeah.
plays and short films. I was that person that, hey, something was happening. Candice was there.
Yeah.
Me, you need me in this. And I wasn't taking care of myself. Like
Mm.
self care went out the window. I was burnt out. I was literally showing up to lectures and I would have my phone recording the lecture, and I'll be sleeping with a hoodie over my head.
Wow.
And it was just really bad until one day I had enough and I decided I believe I've caused enough damage in this world. The world could do without me. So
Mm.
I decided to take pill after pill. And one thing people don't tell you is when you're taking medication, if you're not eating and you're not sleeping, the medication doesn't have anything to lean or to be supported. So my mind was totally dark and warped. Like it
Yeah.
was bad. And
Yeah.
then one day I decided, hey, I'm going to call my mother. I'm going to tell her if she doesn't come and rescue me from what I'm in, because I don't even know how to identify myself anymore. I'm talking to you right now, and I could see the mirror in that dorm room on the
Mm.
second floor. On the top floor was all girls, bottom floor was all guys. I
Mm.
was at the I was the second to last door at the end of a long hallway, probably 20
Mm.
something ladies on a floor. And all I remember, I locked my door, all the pills on my table. I pulled the window open, I cut on the phone, and I was like, Mommy, if you don't come here for me now and rescue me, I'm going to jump from this window. Literally.
Mm.
I don't know what happened between that phone call and my
Yeah.
door being busted down, but my mother, my cousin, and her husband came to my rescue. They
Mm.
grabbed hold of me, and before I knew it, I was back home in my South family home, and I just didn't know what happened between
Wow.
all of that. And what people don't tell you is that depression, the brain is fighting so hard to survive. Some of your memory is gone. Some
Yeah.
of the things are exaggerated,
Yeah.
larger than life,
Yeah.
and you just really feel like going. So suicidal thoughts were coming through my mind. And I tell people all the time, suicide is a statement that persons are trying to make. And you need to respond to that statement before their death becomes a statement,
Yeah.
and so to answer your question,
Mm.
it was just downhill.
Yeah.
Me even being alive today is a miracle, and I don't think I've really processed it all to really see how far God has brought me from. But I'm
Right.
telling you as best as I could share it to you, and that has really affected things. But it's a brighter day today.
Well, yeah, you said that earlier when we were talking before the show, Candice. That had to happen in order for you to step into your brightness, step into your
Mm-hmm.
gift,
Mm-hmm.
and you making the phone call that many don't make, right? They don't, they're not guided to the call,
Mm-hmm.
right? And having people help them in those times, right? So now you just said, suicide led you to God. You shared
Mm-hmm.
that earlier, right? And so I mean, what was it? People talk about, we all talk about people, right? And
Right.
then when they see this star that goes off, and then she comes back
Mm-hmm.
being born. How did you handle the chatter, the thought of chatter? There may not have been any,
Mm-hmm.
but that
Yeah.
whole self-imaging and all that. How'd you deal with that?
Mhm. One thing, and I've never thought of it this way until you asked me it, but I believe I survived because my mother took on the place of me,
Mm,
sheltered me, and she had to deal with the chatter. It
yeah,
never came to me.
yeah,
She had to deal with where is Candice? What is happening to her? So
yeah,
she shielded me and she took all the blows for me,
yeah,
just to protect me. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, like she was
Mm,
very, very protective. She did everything in her power to save me because she knew something is wrong with my daughter.
yeah,
I don't know how to help her, but the best thing I could do is just be everything I could be for her. And I think one thing that was hard for me to deal with was when I was told by the psychiatrist at the university, hey, you're not fit for school. You need to take a year off, like one whole year off.
wow,
And the word is not coming to me, but they have a word that they use. it's not a sabbatical, but it's
Um,
like a period of time that they tell you that you need to take some time off and come back.
yeah.
Yes.
I think
So
a little bit, something like the break, you know.
yeah, so they gave me that break, and if I didn't take that break and I continued, it would have been really bad. Like there was no coming back for me if I did that.
Yeah.
So me having to let go of not graduating with my cohort, not graduating with my friends, people having to say, are you living in university? Like, aren't you supposed to be graduated by now?
Yeah,
I
long
had
time.
I had to let go of that. I had to let go of, oh my gosh, Candice, you are looking malnutrition. You
Mm,
like you've lost weight, and people know me for my hips and my
yeah.
curves and whatever. And there was nothing going on, nothing attractive
Where
about
you
me.
going, huh?
Yeah, I was bones and flesh, and
Mm,
yeah. The only thing that was bright is that I would smile to make people feel I'm okay and just run,
mm,
but yeah, so that all of that happens, and
mm.
I didn't know God was preparing me for what was to come, because a lot of people think that people, oh, they're living their best life, they want to be alive. No, there are people who seem to be living their best life, but in the background there's a lot going on. And
Yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
ooh, the background in the dark. You know, how do you behave in the dark? What's really going on with people? And that's why it's so important, I think, Candace, to be kind to folks you meet. You know, and don't judge, but have compassion, right? Because I mean, it just is necessary because we never know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the dressed up garbage can a long, long time ago, right? I mean, I always hid behind
Mm-hmm.
all of that pain, right, that we're in, Candace. So you're going through this stuff, man. Your mom is there. So I hear having people around you that care about you is an important piece. I
Yeah,
hear
community is
community
important.
is most
Mm-hmm.
important, and then recognizing, when you have to just surrender.
Mm-hmm. And understanding your culture too, because um my culture at the time and my circle at the time did not understand mental health and mental illness,
Yeah,
did not understand depression. So a lot of my survival was on one line: forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, they know not what they say.
mm,
You cannot speak about, you know, depression and have compassion and all these things that you want to if you haven't been in it. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, there's a lot of school of thought out there, but living in it and then seeing it from the outside looking in is two different vantage points.
yeah,
And I want persons to know that, hey, suicide and killing yourself is not the answer, but
mm,
suicide is a moment for you to step back, sit down, analyze, and get the help that you need. Because the fact that the thought came up is because it's saying, hey, something is wrong. We want you to live, but something is dying. Let's get help. And what happens is that people don't find that space to open up and say, I need help.
mm,
And then what happens? It escalates, and it gets to a point where, you know what? Um, I just think that I could be less of a burden to everybody and disappear, not knowing
yeah,
you dying is going to be a burden on somebody as well.
right,
So sometimes this idea of I'm taking up too much space or I'm not holding space, it's a lot. But I want to encourage anybody out there, like,
mm,
even the thoughts of it coming to your mind, I don't, and that there's another thing. A lot of believers or Christians or faith-based people believe if I'm having suicidal thoughts, I'm the devil, I'm
yeah,
evil,
yeah.
no, this is life.
It's life. Amen. Say that
This
again.
is life, and
Yeah,
God wants you to have life. Like he gives you option. There's
yeah,
life and death, but choose life
yeah.
always.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it was not easy for me to choose life always. That's why I had people around me who were choosing to want Candice to live.
yeah. And Candace, that's so beautiful. And then, I just we'll move away from this, but I want to just and parents out there, number one killer of teenagers is suicide. So going into the holiday, coming from spring, I mean, fall break, whatever that is, just pay attention to your kids while they're at home when you hear
Mhm.
this, right? They're doing some things that are giving you, if you're paying attention, some signs that something may be off. Open that door so that they can come and talk to you and listen. Keep your mouth shut and listen, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, thank you for sharing. And
And
I,
we never have enough time to have these conversations. Like, I don't know why we're trying to pretend that like we have this under control. Like,
yeah, and I know you only got like 2 or 3 more minutes, right? I mean, this particularly since we got such a late start, Candice. I mean, this has been. I mean, we talked. The title of the whole thing was marriage, ministry, and navigating. Your migration and that, and but as we the few minutes that we have,
mm-hmm,
you shared a bunch of things. What would you like to how would you like to wrap this up
mm-hmm.
from how you're feeling and what you've shared so far?
Well, I had no clue we were gonna have that pre-conversation of suicide, but I'm glad we did because one thing persons don't tell you when they migrate, they show you the pretty side of migration, but they don't show you behind the scenes of migration. And one of the things I had to deal with was grieving not being around my family. I had to deal with
Mm,
understanding my body migrated, but my mind and my heart was still in Trinidad.
mm, mm,
And when migration mixed with marriage, your mind and your heart is in Trinidad, but your mind and your heart is also in the place that you're migrated and married.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, who do we pay attention to right now? You know?
Yeah, that's
So
a good one. That's a good one.
so there's a lot of navigating there. And then
Mm,
when I got married, based on my story and in my book, The Stretched Out Life, God was like, so wait, you thought it was just about writing a book? We just started, sis. Like, what are you trying to do? So then the ministry was birthed, helping women prepare for marriage, navigate their grief,
mm,
and being able to not just prepare for marriage, but prepare for everything else that leads to marriage. And Jeff, I'm right. I'm working on another book right now. And
mm.
one of the chapters, I talk about sis, you might have skipped a step. And a lot of women think I have the mindset of a wife, but then they skip the steps in between before reaching the marriage altar
Yeah,
and all of these things. And
yeah.
I'm saying, no, we might have missed a step.
Yeah.
And what people don't say is that here's what everything you do is preparing you for everything you're going to become.
Oh, I love that.
And
Mm,
everything you do is preparing you for everything you're going to become. And
yeah.
everybody think, oh, I'm going to become this. No, you become and you are becoming and you are becoming ing. So there's so much happening. And so to wrap this up, I want to be able to tell people, hey, when you are when you say you want marriage, you don't get to choose and select everything on the menu of how you want it to look like.
Mm,
So, yes, I wanted marriage, but I wasn't thinking, wait, what if your husband is not in your country? What
mm,
are you going to do?
yeah.
And guess what? Where he lives and where you live,
Mm.
hmm, well, yeah, he's not moving.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about that. So, what happens when you have to uproot your life? Are you preparing for that move?
Mm,
So, honestly, I knew from the jump. I love this guy. I want to marry this guy, but I didn't think 5 steps ahead.
yeah.
And what people don't tell you is
Yeah.
migration don't just happen just like that. You have to think and plan and prepare
Yeah.
and be 5 steps ahead. So
Right.
nobody told me, by the way, Candice, um, yeah, you can't just like, show up by the corner shop and have a conversation with the shopkeeper because no, it's not like that. Or you can't just stand up outside and flag down a tax. It doesn't work like that, Candice. There's something called Uber, Candice. And there's something called Uber Eats. And there's something called Amazon. And nobody prepared me with this mindset for marriage that, Candice, you cannot get addicted to the click. Because once you click, the money is gone. You have to manage this. You have, and one of the things that messes with marriage is money.
Yeah.
Thank
Say
God,
it.
my husband, you know,
Ooh-wee.
he have it together, but I
Yeah.
didn't have it together because I'm accustomed to living single, no parrot on a stick, no
Yeah.
big, things to think about. All I had to do was make sure and contribute to the water bill when the month come. But
Yeah, man.
I was like, so how do you leave your 9 to 5 teaching job,
Mm.
leave your family and your 92-year-old grandmother who you love with everything,
Mm.
leave your family, leave everything that you know, leave everything you're accustomed to, leave the culture that you were so cozy and comfortable in,
Yeah.
migrate, marry someone who is of a different culture from you, who lives in a different land from you,
Yeah.
and everything changes.
Mm.
I want to tell people, if your mindset is not constantly developing and learning to adjust and learning to be equipped, and you're not investing in yourself, you're not being coached, you're not being mentored, you don't have a community, wherever you go and whatever is happening in your life, you don't have that set, everything is going to crumble. So,
Yeah.
we're talking about navigating all of
Mhm.
these things.
Yes.
When we talk about navigating, we have to be sure of our identity. We
Yeah.
have to be sure of who we are. Because if he says we're going to Timbuktu in the morning, I need Candice to still be together. I
Yes.
need Candice, if she goes somewhere else, she have to learn Konnichiwa. She have to learn another language. She has to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, migration is a form of disruption, but
Mm.
sometimes it's for the better. And
Yeah.
with this disruption, how are you going to be stable? You have to
Mm.
think about, hey, I have to start a new life here. I have to get accustomed. Yes, the butter may not taste the same and the eggs may look different,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
have to adjust. And what I want to share with people in this conversation is, guess what? You cannot tell yourself this is how it has always been. And if
Mm.
it doesn't look like how it has always been, and
Mm.
you don't want to be a part of that, it is going to disrupt everything in your life. So you have to adapt. And the last thing I want to share is, when you leave a dot on the island to come to the US of A, there is a pressure like never before. You have to show up. You have to make something of yourself. You have
Mm.
to slow down your words because your accent might just be a little ticklish. And you have to be in a place of constant, okay, how do I make it work? How do I make it fit? And I was mixed up in this, so I was thinking, okay, all right, it's going to take some time for me to be settled, but you need to make something of yourself. So show up, sign up, buy every course, buy everything, get every book. I mean, go to Barnes and Nobles, make that place your office, and just figure out this new identity and space. And that was a trap.
Mm.
You are not in competition with anybody.
Mm. Love that.
You have to take the time to settle. You have to take the time to adjust. You have to take the time to survey your surroundings and say, okay, I am not home and I am now going to make this place my home. How do I do that? We don't ask ourselves questions. We just go, we just do it, we just let it happen to us. We just let them say what they have to say to us and we
Mm.
accept everything. But no,
Mm.
sis, you're married. You're not single anymore. You can't be single anymore. You can't move like a single person anymore. sis, you're in America. You're not going to pelt mangoes at the neighbor's tree. You're not going to pelt at their mangoes. You're not going to ask for their mangoes. You're going to mind your business and stay in your fence. You hear
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is God had to bring me out of that comfort zone to bring me to this place and to
Yes,
have this conversation with you.
yeah,
Because had I said no to marriage, ministry, and migration, I would be saying no to having this conversation with you.
that's right.
So
Conversations that people need to hear. Mm,
it is what it is.
mm,
I'm just, when this airs, I'm letting y'all know I ain't no competition with anybody.
yeah,
I'm not fighting. I'm not going through the rat race. I refuse
mm,
to,
mm,
to let the environment put things in my environment. And
mm.
I'm just going to be a light in this space. And guess what? I don't know if we're staying in the US of A for long, but while I'm here, I'm going to be present and I'm going to shed my light.
Man. The light is bright, my sister. The light is bright. The smile is beaming. And your gift is. I'm just so fortunate to have met you and been able to tap into just a little bit of your time, Candice, and just so many. I'm taking notes like always, right? So I hope I can read my notes, but I can always go back and watch this. I want to say thank you for being humble, for your vulnerability, for your just true love the accent and wear it proudly. And I'll say this as you go that what you talked about in migration, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to go from one other country to another to experience all the different changes and the sacrifices and the compromises that happen to us if we don't take care of ourselves. And you dropped a lot of things in there, Candice, about not doing that and how you recover from that. So I thank you, thank you, thank you. And until we talk again, my friend, I know you got a roll, so have a fantastic day. And thank
I
you.
appreciate it and keep up the work that you're doing. I know it's not easy. People see us coming up here and there's a lot in the background, but trust me, we're going to be great. We're going to be good. And 2025,
2025, thriving in 25, baby.
oh my gosh, y'all, look out for some more books, look out
Yeah,
for some more appearances. But guess what? Look forward to life. Let's just live today. Let's get through this moment
yeah.
and let's see each other on the other side. In the meantime, embrace the stretch. And this was another conversation.
Love and respect, my sister. Take care of yourself.
Yes, you too. You too.
Thank you. Well, hey, listen, guys. I know we again. If you missed this thing, go back and hit it. Start from the beginning. Share this information with your friend, and reach out to Candice Bailey. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Messenger. You can find her and dial into what she's got. Her message is powerful. Her presence is just what you see. So I want to thank Candice for being here today. I want to thank everybody for showing up and watch that stinking thinking. And know that, like she did, like she explained to you, the real gifts are in the comeback, man. So embrace them, like she did. Get help if you need it. Don't do this thing by yourself. All right. Hey, listen, appreciate everybody. Make sure that you share this information. Happy holidays. And we'll see you again on Conversations with Jeff. Watch that stinking thinking, baby. We'll see you again.